The funny thing about Black Friday is that it always looks like it was designed to help you save money, and yet somehow it keeps finding new ways to empty your wallet. Picture this. It's 6 a.m., you've had half a cup of coffee, you're standing in the TV aisle with a cart that has a mind of its own, and there's a giant 50-inch box in front of you with a bright yellow tag screaming, "Doorbuster, today only, under $200. The younger guy next to you is already Googling specs on his phone. You're squinting at the fine print wondering, is this actually good or just big and cheap? You imagine it in your living room. The grandkids coming over, your favorite news channel finally looking sharp, maybe a movie night without everyone crowding around the old 32-inch. So you let the salesman talk. 4K, smart TV, all the apps, amazing deal, trust me. You nod, you swipe, you drag the thing home, you wrestle it out of the box, set it up. And the first time you turn it on at 2 p.m. with sunlight in the room, the picture looks like someone dragged a gray curtain over it. The sound is thin, the smart menu is full of ads, and every time you just want regular TV, the screen tries to sell you subscriptions. 2 weeks later, you're still pressing the wrong buttons on the remote, and your amazing deal has quietly turned into your new daily annoyance. There's the twist. The trap isn't always the price. The trap is how much effort the TV demands from you after you've paid for it. And for seniors especially, the worst offender is usually the one that looked like the biggest bargain at 6 a.m. on Black Friday. That's why this episode exists, so you don't get stuck with a giant, cheap, confusing rectangle that makes you miss your old TV.
Right now, heading into 2026, 43 and 50-inch TVs are the sweet spot for living rooms and decent-sized bedrooms. Big enough to feel modern, small enough that you're not building a home cinema by accident. But the problem is, Black Friday 2026 will be full of 4K smart TVs that all sound the same on paper and behave completely differently in your living room. Some are bright enough to fight sunlight, others give up the moment you open the curtains. Some have simple, clean menus. Others are a maze of ads and pop-ups. Some will quietly chug along for years. Others will die right around the time the warranty gets comfortable and leaves. So, here's the deal. No sponsors, no freebies, no brought to you by the brand we're supposedly reviewing. Just testing, real buyer complaints, and a simple goal. If you're a senior or you're buying for your parents, I want you to know exactly which 43 and 50-inch TVs are actually safe to buy on Black Friday, and which ones will turn into constant tech support calls and regret. By the end of this, you'll know which models to walk towards, which boxes to walk past, and why sometimes spending $50 more saves you 2 years of stress. And yes, we're absolutely going worst to better, with honest pros and cons. Not everything is amazing. Please click my affiliate link. Let's start with the TV that looks like a miracle on a price tag and behaves like a prank in your living room.
You've seen this one 100 times, a random brand name you've never heard of. Something that sounds like a password. Xylovox, OnWin, Megavision, 50 inches, 4K, smart, under $200. On paper, it sounds like a win. In reality, here's usually what happens. The brightness is so low that by the time the sun hits your curtains, the screen looks washed out, especially on daytime news. Motion looks smeary, the smart menu takes forever to load, and half the space is taken up by ads and weird apps. And the remote? Tiny buttons, weird layout, and a dedicated button to a service you'll never use. The punchline is, a lot of these ultra-cheap doorbuster specials use bare minimum panels and the cheapest mainboards they can get away with. That means more reports of vertical lines after a year, won't turn on, or the screen just went black and never came back. If you're on a fixed income, that isn't a deal. That's paying rent on a problem. So, as tempting as that mystery brand 50-inch might look on the front page of the Black Friday flyer, for seniors, it's usually the TV equivalent of buying discount shoes that fall apart mid-walk. So if that's the kind of set you should walk past, what's the first one you can realistically start considering? One of the most honest starting points is the TCL 43-inch 4 Series Roku TV, model 43S455. This is what I'd call the "it just works for the basics" TV. For a bedroom or smaller living room, the size is comfortable, not overwhelming, not tiny. The picture's 4K, which mostly means sharper text and logos, and for seniors, that actually matters. You can read the channel names without leaning forward. The big win here is the Roku interface. It's simple, it's clean, and it doesn't attack you with pop-ups the second you turn it on. You have clear tiles, you can label inputs, and the home button always brings you back to a page that looks familiar. For seniors who don't want to learn a new OS every time they watch TV, this is gold. The remote is also straightforward. Fewer buttons, fewer accidental disasters. But let's not romanticize it. This is still a budget TV. The brightness is okay for a normal room, but if your living room gets a lot of direct sunlight, it's gonna look a bit dull at certain times of day. The sound is passable, not impressive. If you have a very open space or a lot of background noise, you'll probably want a cheap soundbar later. And some users do report minor issues with remote quality or viewing angles. Step too far to the side and the picture loses some punch. This is not the hero TV for everyone. It's the I want something simple that doesn't kill my wallet option for smaller spaces. If you want to stretch the screen size just a bit, or you're loyal to big brands, there's another character in the story, the Samsung 43-inch U7900 Crystal UHD. On Black Friday shelves, this one tends to look like a steal. Recognizable brand, decent design, and a price that sometimes lands just under or around $200 for the 43-inch. Your brain goes, Samsung at that price? Done. And to be fair, for the money, the actual picture is pretty good. It's brighter than most super cheap sets, colors look clean, and motion on sports and news holds together better. This is not a fake 4K panel trying to pretend. For many living rooms, especially if you watch a lot of daytime TV, the Samsung will simply look better than a random budget brand.
But here's where the senior factor comes in. Samsung runs on its own smart platform, Tizen. It's powerful, it's feature-rich, and yes, it's busier. There are more tiles, more recommendations, more layers of menus. Younger users like that level of control on customization. Seniors, not so much. If you set it up well, rename inputs, pin the apps you actually use, hide some of the extra junk, it's fine. If you take it out of the box and just hand the remote to someone who hates menus, they will get frustrated. So the Samsung U7900 is what I'd call great value with a small asterisk. Great if someone tech-savvy in the family will set it up, tame the home screen, and then leave it in a simple state. Not ideal if the TV owner is completely on their own and already nervous about smart menus. Now, let's talk about the TVs that were practically born for seniors. Roku's own Select series. At 43 inches, the Roku Select 4K HDR model is basically the TCL 4 series idea, but with Roku building and controlling the whole experience end to end. Same simple Roku home screen, but now with some extra polish. It typically sits in the mid-200s to low 300s depending on size and sale, which means it's not the absolute cheapest, but it's in that comfortable, I'm paying for less headache zone. The magic here is consistency. Big, clear tiles, fonts that don't require a magnifying glass, a remote that gives you the mainstreaming buttons you need without trying to be the cockpit of a plane. For seniors who just want Netflix, YouTube, a cable box, and maybe one or two other apps, this is the TV that stops them from calling their kids every time the home screen changes.
Downsides, it's still a regular LED. Not crazy bright, not crazy dark. In a normal room, it's fine. In a room with massive windows and full sun, it might struggle a little compared to high-end QLED or mini LED sets. The sound is, again, fine, not cinematic, and Roku's own hardware in this price band isn't built like a tank. It's decent, not bulletproof. Still, for a senior who mostly watches in the evening or in a room that doesn't get blasted by light, the trade-off heavily favors ease of use. But the real sweet spot for a lot of living rooms is the 50-inch Roku Select. This is the size where the picture finally feels modern, especially if you're replacing an old 40-inch or smaller set. From a couch distance, faces look more natural, subtitles are easier to read, and if multiple people are watching, no one feels like they got the bad seat. Same simple Roku interface, same clear home screen, just more screen real estate. For seniors who watch a lot of news, dramas, or sports, a well-placed 50-inch Select makes everything feel more immersive without going overboard. You do have to measure your TV stand or wall first, please don't skip that step. But if it fits, this is arguably the default yes option for many senior households. Of course, not everyone stops at good enough. Some people want better color, deeper blacks, and a picture that holds up even when the curtains are wide open and the sun is in a bad mood. That's where QLED and local dimming enter the story, and with them, two very different personalities. Amazon's Fire TV Omni QLED and the Roku Plus Series QLED.
The Fire TV Omni QLED, especially in the 50-inch size, is the, wow, that's a lot of TV for the money option. When it's on sale, and it often is around Black Friday, you're getting a QLED panel, local dimming, better contrast, and higher brightness than basic LED sets, all for a price that can sit under $300. On paper, this looks like an absolute no-brainer. In real life, the picture really is noticeably richer. Colors pop more, HDR movies and nature shows look more alive, and daytime viewing holds up better. Plus, hands-free Alexa can be genuinely useful for some seniors, like Alexa, open YouTube. Alexa, turn down the volume. Alexa, go to HDMI 1. If someone has mobility issues or just doesn't like fiddling with remotes, that's a real advantage. The catch? Fire TV's home screen is busier and more ad-driven. It likes to recommend, suggest, promote, and occasionally nag. For a tech-comfortable person, that's noise they learn to filter out. For a senior who just wants to watch their two favorite channels, it can feel like being stuck in a busy mall every time they turn the TV on. This TV can be incredible for a senior, but only if a family member goes in, unpins the junk, configures the home screen, and simplifies the layout. If you skip that step, you're basically handing someone a great panel wrapped in a noisy interface. The Roku Plus Series 50-inch QLED, on the other hand, is the calmer cousin. You get the upgrades, QLED, local dimming, better HDR, but with the same Roku brain that already proved itself. Simple home screen, clean navigation, no constant upgrade to this subscription harassment. It usually costs a bit more than the select LED version, but if you care about picture quality and you want to keep the interface as clean as possible for years, this is where your money starts to feel very, very well spent.
For seniors who watch a mix of daytime TV and nighttime movies and maybe have a living room that's bright but not a glass box, the Roku Plus 50-inch is that nice TV that you actually enjoy using. No one is going to complain the picture is too dim, no one is going to get lost in the menus, and you don't have to explain the remote a dozen times. At the far edge of this story, there's a TV that will absolutely catch your eye if you walk into a store, something like the Samsung QN90F Neo QLED Mini LED in 43 inches. It's the one the salesperson will love to demo. Crazy brightness, deep contrast, anti-glare that laughs at sunlight. If your living room looks like a greenhouse, this thing will cut through daylight like a flashlight. But here's the honest truth. For most seniors, this is pure overkill. You're paying premium money, think close to or over $900, for performance you may not fully use. The interface is still Tizen with all its strengths and complexity, and if your main use is cable news, Netflix, and the occasional game show, you're basically buying a sports car to drive to the corner store. So yes, it's an amazing piece of hardware. No, it doesn't make sense for most senior households unless you specifically need extreme brightness and you have someone tech savvy in the family who will babysit the settings. And that brings us to the actual point. Among all these models, which ones are genuinely worth putting in a senior home in 2026, and which ones should you only admire from a distance?